Across Central Oregon on this Wednesday, we've had tons of sunshine, no rain in sight. In fact, barely a cloud in the sky, and temperatures have been running well above average for this time of the year. We're talking highs in the 80s and 90s, and that is not typical for late September. However, some bigger changes are on the way. Most of those start with a weak and dry cold front that pushes through the high desert tomorrow, mostly Thursday afternoon and evening, and then even bigger changes by the time we get to Friday. So when we look outside, we have tons of sunshine, no clouds. However, there is some haze across the Tri-County area. In fact, when we go ahead and look a little bit closer at this, you can really see that haze overlooking from Bachelor overlooking Tumalo Mountain to Bend. There's a nice thick layer, and in all of the all of the Oregon Hazards Lab camera network cameras, we do still see some of this haze. These are the fire detection cameras from the University of Oregon, and they're very helpful. A couple of them were tracking a few smoke plumes, but it looked like they might have been ag burns, and we haven't seen anything new. Now the DEQ air quality shows the hourly average has mostly good, some spots moderate air quality, but the real-time sensors from eSpace show good air quality except for in Madras. Even looking at the third sensor network that we have, which is Purple Air, most of them are green. Just a couple show a little bit of yellow, meaning good to some moderate air quality. And there's still some of this haze across the high desert, but even through the overnight hours, some of that sticks around. So periods of reduced air quality, especially as the vertical column collapses when temperatures cool. And then by tomorrow, we really start to clear out. And this is because of our next front. In advance of that front, winds get breezy, we get our clearing, and we have very little haze left over the high desert. But when we take a look at satellite and radar, there is not much to talk about. That is because of this broad ridge of high pressure that's over the Pacific Northwest and really almost the entire Pacific coastline. There's just one difference, and that is a very weak low pressure system that is going to recurve back inland and merge with a cold front there in the next couple of days and really just fizzle out and not really impact us. But we are still under the high pressure. We still have tons of sunshine, and this high pressure is blocking a lot of this activity that we see out over the Gulf of Alaska and the Pacific Ocean, and the northern Pacific Ocean, I should say. But on top of all this, we have very dry conditions with relative humidity values in the single digits and teens. So add in the very dry conditions, and by tomorrow, winds becoming breezy at times. That means fire weather conditions are going to be top of mind once again. So high temperatures in the last 24 hours, 80s and some 90s. We're still sitting in the 80s. We still have some 90s on the map, and temperatures are running between 3 and 11 degrees warmer than just 24 hours ago. And so for tonight, it gets cool again. We're talking 40s and some 50s with a few 30s out there. And then by tomorrow, topping out in the lower to mid 80s. So not as hot as it was today, but still above average. That average high is 75 degrees. We're going to be sitting in the 80s for highs, and by the afternoon hours, that's when we start to get more clouds, stronger winds, and our next cool down really starts to take shape. And this is all because of the tail end of a weak front. So by Thursday, we still have 80s with a few 70s and a mixture of sunshine and some PM clouds. And then that next cold front rolls through. On the back side of it, we get a bigger dip in temperatures, pleasant conditions through Friday to wrap up the work week, only a few 80s and no rain in sight. By Saturday, our next ridge of high pressure starts to build into the region. No rain in sight, but we start to warm back up. So really, truly, roller coaster temperatures across the high desert, and it's not even going to be until next week that we start to see that next chance of rain. So let's go ahead and look at a traditional forecast model. It actually shows that through the overnight hours, we stay clear. By late Thursday, some in and out clouds, and Friday and Saturday, we're back to more sunshine. Now, Saturday and Sunday, more clouds are expected, just no rain yet. So when we look at the long range model, what we see is that through Sunday, we still have these in and out clouds expected. Late Sunday, going into Monday, some showers are in the forecast, and this is when we start to get into that next unsettled weather pattern with system after system bringing us a little bit more rain. Now, each system that comes through Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, none of them are going to be a washout, but when you combine everything together, many of us are going to get wet, and it's going to get a lot cooler. But between now and Friday at 11 p.m., we are dry on the high desert. So for tonight, expect temperatures to fall back into the 50s and 40s with a few 30s. By tomorrow, we are talking 80s with some 70s. Now, when we go ahead and look at the wind forecast model, it shows that by tomorrow, winds are going to get breezy, even gusty at times. So here's a quick look at your 7-day planner. Roller coaster temperatures, but by early next week, 60s, wetter, breezy, and more of these off and on showers are expected. That's the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll have the latest headlines and your most reliable forecast. See you then.